Good to go.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Buloke Shire Council Statutory Council meeting for 2021. This meeting is being broadcast by Council's website, and I wish everybody who is viewing a very good evening. As interim CEO, I will assume the chair for this meeting until such time as a mayor is elected. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting and the lands to where tonight's broadcast reaches. We also pay our respects to their elders and to the elders from other communities who may be in attendance. I also like to welcome any guests who we may have, and I note that there is Martin Duke is joining us as we speak. So welcome to you, Martin, as you're coming in. This evening, this meeting will be held virtually via Zoom, and throughout the meeting, councillors must be able to see and be seen, to hear and be heard. To ensure we're meeting these guidelines, we will commence with a roll call of our councillors to establish they are fully connected. We'll start with the lower Avoca ward councillors. Councillor David Pollard.
Thanks, Mr. CEO. I can see everyone and hear everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Pollard. Councillor Carolyn Stewart.
Thank you. I can see and hear everyone.
Moving to our Mallee ward, Councillor Alan Gett.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Wayne. I can hear and see everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Getley. Councillor David Bees.
Good evening, Mr. CEO and councillors. I can hear and I can see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bees. We move to the Mount Jeffcott ward and Councillor Graham Milne.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I can see everybody and hear everybody as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Milne. And Councillor Bronwyn Simpson.
Good evening, through the chair. I can see and hear each person. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. And Councillor Darryl Warren.
Thank you, Mr. O'Toole. I can see and hear everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Warren. If a conflict of interest is declared, the councillors who has the conflict will be removed from the meeting completely for that item and reinstated after that item has been dealt with before the meeting can proceed. Councillors will vote by showing their hands, making sure that their raised hand is within screenshot. If any councillor loses connectivity during the meeting will be suspended until connection is restored for all councillors. If councillors' broadcast of this meeting experiences technical difficulties and drops out, the meeting will be adjourned for 30 minutes in order for us to be able to re-establish connection. Thank you very much. We will now move to item 5.1, which is for the mayoral term of office. So, councillors, I'm looking for someone to move a motion on the mayoral term of office, bearing in mind it could be 1 or 2 years. Councillor Simpson.
Through the chair, I am very happy to move a motion that we have a 1-year term of office for our elected mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Stewart, thank you. And is there any abstention to that motion? Everyone in favour?
Yes.
Show of hands, please, councillors. Lovely, thank you. I'll declare that motion carried. Item 5.2 is for the term of office for the Deputy Mayor. Again, if I could have a councillor move a motion for that term.
Happy to move that, Mr. O'Toole, that the Deputy Mayor position be for a 1-year term.
Thank you, Councillor Warren. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Getley, thank you very much. Everybody in favour? Thank you. I declare that that matter carried. Moving on to item 5.3, which is the election of a mayor. Do we have any nominations for the position of mayor?
Yes, Mr. O'Toole, I'd like to nominate myself for the position of mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Warren. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Simpson, thank you very much. Do we have any further nominations? That being the case, I am very pleased to declare that Councillor Warren will be the mayor for the next 12-month term. Congratulations, Councillor Warren. I'll pass the chair on to you.
Thank you, Mr O'Toole, and thank you, fellow councillors, for your support for the next 12 months. We're moving along to 5.4, the election of a deputy mayor. Do I have any nominations for the position of deputy mayor? Councillor Getley?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I would like to nominate for the position of deputy mayor.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Milne, the second. Do I have any other nominations for the position of deputy mayor? Councillor Stewart.
I'd like to nominate Councillor David Pollard.
Oh, thank you. Councillor Pollard, you've been nominated. Would you like to accept the nomination?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I can accept the nomination.
Thank you.
We need a seconder.
I was going to say, do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Viss to second that. Thank you, Councillor Viss. Are there any other nominations for the position of deputy mayor? Councillor Simpson.
I would also like to nominate for the position of deputy mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Simpson's nomination? Councillor Milne to second that nomination. Thank you, Councillor Milne. Are there any other nominations for the position of deputy mayor? Oh, come on, I'm still taking bids. Thank you, councillors. Well, according to how I've, if you like, read the governance rules, that we will have a vote along those lines, and I suppose the councillor with the least votes will drop out of the race until such time as we have a councillor elected with the majority of councillors' votes. So I will take them in accord with their nominations. So councillors, those in favour of Councillor Getley for deputy mayor, could you please show your hands? Thank you. So we have Councillor, so I don't lose track of the numbers. So Councillor Milne, Councillor Warren and Councillor Getley. Thank you. Councillors, we have a nomination for Councillor Pollard for the position of deputy mayor. If those councillors in favour of Councillor Pollard, could they please raise their hands, please? So we have Councillor Pollard, Councillor Stewart and Councillor Viss. Thank you, councillors. We have a nomination from Councillor Simpson. Councillors, do we have a vote there? All those in favour of Councillor Simpson? I have Councillor Simpson as there. So in terms of that, councillors, Councillor Simpson will drop out of the position or the race for deputy mayor, and we'll go back through the motion again. Councillors, those in favour of Councillor Getley for the position of deputy mayor, please raise their hands. So I have Councillor Warren, Councillor Getley, Councillor Simpson and Councillor Milne. Thank you. Councillors, we have Councillor Pollard. Those councillors in favour of Councillor Pollard, could they please raise their hands? So we have Councillor Pollard, Councillor Stewart and Councillor Viss. Having crunched the numbers through the electoral computer, I declare that Councillor Getley is elected as Deputy Mayor for the ensuing 12 months. And thank you, councillors, for your interest in the position of Deputy Mayor and putting hands up around the table. So thank you very much. Congratulations, Councillor Getley.
Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Moving along, councillors, 5.5, the report of council meeting schedule for 2021-2022. That will come from the office of the CEO, Mr O'Toole.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So there is a report for before councillors for their consideration. which looks at the dates for council meetings and briefings, and perhaps note a change from previous, Mayor, where the second briefing in the month has been moved from 3 p.m. start through to 5 p.m.
Councillors, any comment or discussion on that particular matter? Councillor Mill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I guess it's not greatly important, but I'm just concerned that Kalgoorlie and Nandali have been put on into October 22, given that there are a couple of smaller communities that we haven't been able to get to much this year. I sort of would have liked to seen them a little bit further up the list, but I'm not proposing the change. I'm just suggesting that that I'm probably would have liked to have seen them, that we got to visit them sooner rather than later.
Thanks, Councillor Mill. Councillor Simpson?
I'm happy to concur with Councillor Mill that it would be nice to see the Kalgoorlie and Nandali sooner, if that's possible, please.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Mr. O'Toole, any comment, please?
Mayor, thank you. Yes, and through you, perhaps I could propose an amendment to the list as it's been presented to the second briefing in February and March 2022, that they be relocated from Donald and Witchyproof to Nandali and Kalgoorlie, respectively.
Thanks, Mr. O'Toole. Councillors, agreeable? Councillor Stewart?
I'd just also like to question why there's only 2 briefings at Charlton, whereas every other town has 3 at least, and Witchproof has about 5, I think I counted, 5 or 6.
Mr. O'Toole?
Look, no reason, Mayor. I think this is no reflective of what we've done in previous years, but again, I'm more than happy if councillors are amenable to removing one of those briefings at Witchyproof. Let's perhaps say the second briefing in March, from Witchyproof to a Charlton briefing.
Councillor Stewart? Suitable arrangement?
That sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Simpson, did you want to say something?
I thought we just moved that briefing in March to
February.
a Kalgoorlie or a Nandali.
My apologies, councillors.
Or did I lose track?
No, that good pick up. Thank you for that. Let me just look and see at the agenda. How about we make what is proposed as the Witchyproof briefing on the 15th of June, we move that to Charlton.
I'm happy with any, I just think for quality purposes, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Stewart.
Thank you. So, Mayor, just for your information, we will need to now move an alternative motion.
If you could, please, provide that to us, Councillor Mr. O'Toole.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm hoping perhaps one of the other directors might have been writing that down while I was talking, if any chance. Through the Mayor, I actually wrote it down as, so maybe I wasn't listening, but I actually wrote it down as Kalgoorlie and Nandali were replacing Birchip and Donald in February, and that we proposed the Charlton meeting that Councillor Stewart wished to bring in for the March 16th briefing, is what I thought was said, but maybe I got it wrong. Well, I'm certainly happy to go with that, Councillor Mill. If other councillors are amenable, that we move those 2 briefings in February to Kalgoorlie and Nandali, and then the second briefing in March from Witchyproof to Charlton.
I think that captures it.
So then the motion will include that October would be Birchip and Donald.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And Witchy drops one out and Charlton gets one in.
Yep. Thank you for your support there. So with the alternative motion, councillors, do I have someone to move the meeting schedule for next year?
I'm happy to move that, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Milne to move. Do I have a second to councillors? Councillor Stewart to second. Thank you, Councillor Stewart. Is there any opposition, councillors?
No.
Thank you, councillors. That is carried. Thank you. 5.6, report of appointment of delegates. Mr CEO.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you, there is a report before councillors identifying each councillor and their representative committees they've been delegated to. The recommendation is before councillors for their approval, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, councillors? Thank you, councillor. So we do have a recommendation that council adopts the following list of council delegates for appointment. Do I have someone to move that recommendation? Councillor Getley to move. Councillor Pollard to second. Is there any opposition, councillors?
No.
That's carried. Thank you very much, councillors. Item 6, a motion of thanks to previous mayor and deputy mayor. I'll kick this off, I suppose, councillors, unless anyone else wants to jump in. I'd just like to move a vote of thanks to Councillor Viss for his time as deputy mayor over the last 12 months. It's been a very difficult 12 months for a variety of reasons. So not the least being COVID, but of course it's always very difficult in terms of pulling it together. Life changes and values change and everything changes really in a blink of an eyelid. So I'd like to move a vote of thanks to Councillor Viss for his time and his effort as deputy mayor in the last 12 months. Councillor Getley, thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Is there any opposition?
No opposition.
No. Thank you.
And Mr Mayor,
Thank you, everyone.
Mr Mayor, may I say that the meeting he conducted in Sea Lake in your absence that night, he did very professionally.
Oh, very good. Well, you know.
Thank you very much.
Well done. So thank you, councillors. That's it's always good to hear. So I don't think there's Councillor Pollard. Yes, you're waving.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to move a vote of thanks for you for leading us in through the previous 12 months and all the best for the following 12 months.
Thank you, Councillor Pollard. And thank you, councillors. It's always good to get an endorsement from someone that's been there and done it and they know what happens. And that's always very encouraging. So thank you. Councillors.
I'll second that.
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Forgot that. Thanks, Councillor Milne. Anyone opposed?
No.
You can say it now. Look, thank you, councillors. That brings us to the meeting close at point 7. So the next council meeting is to be held in accordance with the council meeting schedule adopted for the next 12 months. So, councillors, thank you for your attendance, and for those that joined us tonight, thank you, and wish everyone all the best for the ensuing 12 months. So, thank you.